I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Ryan Williams in line, and he's the COO over at the Lorem Ipsum Company. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Adam. Really appreciate your time.
So I'm excited to get into today's topic, marketing automation, making money while you sleep. I mean, these are big topics right on point. A lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives listening, and they like nothing more than to automate some of their processes. But before we get into that, let's get a little bit further into what you're doing over at the Lorem Ipsum Company. So first, tell us a little bit more about the business, please.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. So the Lorem Ipsum Company, we're Southern California based. Really, we got our roots in digital marketing. Our CEO, Jeremy Gordon, he actually has been in marketing for his entire career. Actually started a newspaper up in Santa Barbara, if you could believe that, and the Santa Barbara Sound, and then quickly himself diving into that digital world. And so now we service small to medium-sized businesses, large organizations, to help them represent themselves appropriately on the internet, so that when clients are looking for them, they're able to find them.
It's awesome, and there's a lot of business owners listening, just so they have a good feel for the type of client that's the right fit, and so they know if they should follow up. What kind of clients do you work with? I know you said large or small. Is there any particular niches or anything that you prefer that's that sweet spot?
Typically, Adam, we like to work with, we'll work with anybody, right? And we can typically find a solution that fits just about any specific niche. But a lot of our clients, we find ourselves working in the financial sector. We find people working in, real estate and insurance, people that have to go out and actually create some authority online, and try to kind of, position themselves online as a thought leader, as someone that their clients can trust, and as someone has a need that arises, immediately their mind is going to go to that person or that company. So those are typically the people that we like to cater to, people that want to be seen as leaders in their industry.
That's awesome. It's super important. I always tell people, I'm like, we're past the day of you can just, be good at what you do. People have to know you're good at what you do. Somebody's going to create your brand for you, and no brand is a brand. So if you have no presence, that is a brand. Love the work you guys are doing over there, Ryan. Let's change it up a bit. I do want to get into automation, and let's go down that path. So where do you want to begin with today's topic?
Absolutely, Adam. I mean, I like to talk about marketing automation as making money while you sleep. I mean, that's ultimately every business owner's dream, right? So I guess the place where I typically like to start the conversation about marketing automation is we all have a finite number of hours in the day that we can be doing any one thing, right? You can only record so many podcasts in a day. I can only make so many sales calls in a day. Your listeners, they can only pick a phone so many times in a day, right? Now you can hire people to do that, and that comes with its own inherent costs and its own inherent risks and its own inherent limitations and capabilities, but those people have finite number of hours in their day. So how do you get to the people that are working off hours? What if they call your business off, after you guys close, after that last person leaves for the day? So really that's where marketing automation comes in. So as I was saying before, setting yourself up as that thought leader, making people want to really download a white paper or hear your opinion on something, much like you're doing with this podcast. You're seen as a thought leader in this business leadership space, right? People want to hear what you're saying. So much like that, all businesses can be seen as leaders. They can provide content out there that's going to entice people to go and actually engage with their brand. They're going to give some kind of communication method, be it social media or be it email, and then through the beauty of marketing automation, you can set something up that's going to be happening at all hours of the day, and it's going to happen over the course of the next 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever the case might be. And what's great about that is the number one killer in sales, the absolute number one killer in sales. Do you know what it is, Adam?
No. What is it?
It's time is the killer of all sales, right? And typically what happens is you have a salesperson that they get hot and heavy on a new lead, they get hot and heavy on a new opportunity, and they call them once, they call them twice, they don't get anywhere, they get told no, and then they get discouraged and they get distracted by the next shiny thing. The beauty with marketing automation is they don't care how many times you don't open an email. It doesn't matter how many times the person looks at the email and says, I don't need this right now. But essentially what's going to happen is that at some point that email is going to hit at the right time for some percentage of your clients. And as soon as that happens, you have a sale. So that's kind of the beauty of marketing automation. It takes all of the human aspect of it out of it. And don't get me wrong, I love people, right? I love talking to people. I love working with people. But people have finite limitations, finite hours in the day, finite number of times they can hear the word no before they get discouraged by one client. Whereas marketing automation just powers through all of that until you either say, hey, I don't want to hear from you anymore, or ultimately you make the sale.
Yeah, I love it. And like you said, you're getting the thing back that you can't get anymore of, which is your 24 hours in a day. I love it, and it makes sense, and you're really targeting. So it's not that person that doesn't open the email won't ever do business with you or won't, but they don't have time right that moment. So you're not wasting your time on the phone, even listening to the dial tone of going to voicemail or leaving a message or all these other things. So I love that. Where do you find so Ryan, where do you find a lot of clients prior to working with you are making their biggest mistake? I know this is going to change, by the way, from client to client, but I know certain themes will lie. So where do you find that some of your, before they start working with you, are making their biggest mistakes in automating?
Even before we get to the automation mistakes that are happening, the biggest mistake that people make or businesses make are they get it. Right? They understand it. They understand that they need to be writing blog posts. They understand that they need to be sharing those blog posts to their social media, to their LinkedIn. They need to be sharing it on Twitter and on Facebook. And so what they'll do is they'll go and redesign their website and make it, add a blog, add a piece of content on there, and then they'll invest their time for a week or 2 weeks, or maybe they'll hire an intern, and that intern will go and write a couple blogs and do a couple social media posts, but then ultimately it tapers out, right? So that's ultimately the first mistake. When you get it, the cost of starting it and finishing it is actually greater, in my opinion, than not doing it at all. Because if you're going to start it and you're not going to finish it, people are actually going to go there. They want to see you as a thought leader. They want to trust you as a business. People buy from people. People buy from people that they trust. So you're just building this trust online by sharing your knowledge. We each have more knowledge in one specific area than the other. By sharing your bit of knowledge, your little slice of the world, you're creating trust with that company. So that's really where the first thing stops. That's the first error is made, is people start to write blogs, they start to engage on social, and then they stop because they get distracted, they get bored, they get, you name it. Now, the next mistake people make with this automation process is they either don't do it long enough. They'll send one or two follow-up emails automatically, over the course of the next 2 to 4 weeks. That's awesome. But what happens if they, what happens if they're not in the buying mode in 4 weeks? What happens if it's in 6 weeks? What happens if it's in 8 weeks? So moving beyond that and continually giving them information that is valuable to them is imperative. Another mistake that I commonly see people make is just what I mentioned. They say, hey, look at us. Look how good we are. Look how cool we are. Look at all the good stuff we can bring to you, Mr. Customer, Mr. Potential Customer. That's not the game. The game is provide valuable content to your prospect, something that they're going to actually use. They're going to take it and it's going to make their business better. That's how you win in the marketing automation game, because that's how you build that trust. And just like I said, people buy from people they trust.
Man, that's awesome. So Ryan, if somebody's listening to this, and by the way, I can talk to you about marketing automation all day long. I mean, I love it. I love what you're doing. I love the way the type of clientele you're helping. Also, I mean, I know you can help anybody, but those finance guys, they need you. And there's some of them listening right now, and they know they need you, and they know they need some automation, and they know that these processes will be really good for them long term, especially on that to make more revenue. That being said, if somebody's listening to this, and they want more information on the Lorem Ipsum Company, what's the best way for them to follow up and to connect?
Absolutely. So they can hop on our website. The website is theloremipsumco.com. That's Lorem with an M as in Mary. So theloremipsumco.com. Or they could reach out to me direct. My email is Ryan, RYAN, at theloremipsumco.com. Those are the easiest ways to get a quick response from us.
Man, that's awesome. Well, hey, Ryan, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background, but also all the great work you're doing over at the Lorem Ipsum Company to help your clients. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Ryan, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks, Adam. Love what you're doing.